show just on reviews because all our topics will always be in the flow of what's going on. That's where we come off of situations that is going on right now.
We got to get into this topic tonight, King. So here it goes. It's a scenario.
Scenario.
Yes, scenario. So we start off like my husband and I got married June 17th, 2020. Ever since then, we have had problems. Most recently, I left for my family's house for a night during a disagreement and ended up being gone for 3 weeks. Wow. Because his parents came to stay with him, we don't get along, and my husband said he didn't want to start conflict. I came back 2 weeks later. We got into another disagreement, which caused us to get evicted. I ended up moving back in with my family, and I have no idea where he stands. He also got a new phone, and I don't know his number. The only way I have to communicate with him, which is maybe a message or two a day, is on Facebook or Twitter. He says he needs space to get himself better and work on his body and mind, then we can try it again later. I haven't seen him in about 2 months, and no matter what I say about trying to communicate and work on things together, he still says I should respect his wishes. Things don't have to always go my way. He says he's working on getting him a place, and I should do the same for myself. I feel like this isn't a way to start a marriage. This isn't just a relationship anymore where you can just take a break. I got married to have a partner in life with my best friend to build and grow together. If I wanted to do this, I would have stayed single. I guess I just need to know, am I overreacting? And what should I do?
Well, that almost is
That's deep.
almost linked up with my scenario. My scenario was, what if you woke up one morning and you lost everything? That scenario that Queen Summers just stated is almost similar to mine. I mean, if you lose everything and you are in a relationship.
Really, they was evicted. They lived together, so they lost everything. Probably had to put everything in storage. And that's just a very, very unfortunate situation. And let me go back up here to the top of the scenario because I'm trying to figure out, she said, all of this, ever since then, we have had problems. So ever since they got married, they started having problems. And the most recent one is when his parents came to stay. So that's a communication issue.
I agree. And that's something that I feel like most relationships, even worldwide relationships, dealing with the police, dealing with your neighborhoods, dealing with your neighbor, and your mate, there is a transparency communication thing that needs to be talked about, need to be laid out, try to compromise with each other, and see where you can move forward after you communicate.
Okay, so she said she came back 2 weeks later and they got into another disagreement, which caused them to get evicted. What do you say about that, King? That's a change.
Yes, it was a dramatic change, but I say this. Once something dramatically changes, most of the times, or all the times, everything happens for a reason. Either that is to see how strong your foundation is, or to see how strong your foundation is to
But hold
get
on.
back up.
Don't you sound like a little contradictory when he said he needed his space to get better and maybe they can try again? That's not a relationship. They in a marriage. How can you just tell your spouse that?
I understand, yes, but I'm just stating that there needs to be, like I stated, I think that there was no type of understanding of communication among them, each other. I remember you stating that the family members moved in and she left. It's all kind of things that I can go into that I state that could have been worked out through communication or just forcing things onto another mate.
It's dirty to get a new phone and don't even give your wife your phone number. That's something else right there.
And that scenario is related to what's going on right now. COVID has made families come together, made some families draw apart. And that's one of the reasons why I think Queen Summers is expressing this scenario out to the audience. It's not more of my answer. We need the answers from y'all. And we will give y'all answers back on the next show that we come on to.
Okay, so at the end of the scenario, she asked 2 questions. She said, what should she do? And she just need to know, is she overreacting? So, King, your answer. Do you feel that she overreacted, blowed up in a disagreement with his parents first?
Yes, I mean, I think there's some type of lack of communication among
Okay,
her
so
and
how can she be the one that overreacted if the communication wasn't between her and her husband and it involved his family? Don't you think that maybe he was the problem instead of her? Maybe she just wanted to know, like, what's going on here. That's like saying, I'm going to a baseball game, but I'm not going to tell my wife that I bought a ticket using her debit card.
Exactly, and that's what I'm stating, that I said that communication is a huge problem that will come to front. And what I mean by that, him and her, I feel like did not discuss before COVID hit, before a loss of a job, a loss of income, or what will a family do when a loved one, dear loved one, or maybe their mother, grandmother, or whatever, needs to have shelter, and there is the only grandson or the only son. Do What I'm asking to the people is, do have y'all have that conversation? I feel like if you do have that conversation, this type of scenario could be avoided, because when that situation happens, therefore y'all will already have the answers to the questions. Can my mother-in-law move in? Can my mother move in? Could my brother move in? And it would be more quickly discussed about a more re-innovated type of answer to the problem.
Right. And maybe that could help not have a second disagreement. Don't you agree?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so basically what we think you should do in this scenario right here is, instead of talking about your spouse, maybe you need to start talking to your spouse. And that communication is key.
And I would say go further than that. At these days and times, you need to have an escape route. You need to have a plan of emergency. You need to have a plan of showmanship against your friendly neighbors or family members.
Well, basically, you need to have a united front.
Yes.
Because there are so many different things out here and distractions, like King said, that can divide your union. This is now is not the time to be showing division in anything. It's time to start showing unity.
Yes, my people, yes. Now, I got a scenario here.
Okay.
My scenario is more of like, what if you woke up, or if something just changed immediately. What if you was just having dreams the night before, the day, and tonight, whereas you go to sleep and you wake up tomorrow and you go to the store and you buy a lottery ticket of those numbers that was in your dream, that lottery day come up and your numbers won hundreds millions of dollars.
Ooh, well, there are so many stories in the news and the press of this exact scenario, and a lot of people say, it caught me off guard so bad, I just didn't want to go down and claim the money. But they eventually went and got their advisors and everything, and, we all know the stories of where are they now in a couple of them. But at the same time, I think if something like that was to happen to me, King, I would be ecstatic.
One thing I would say, my queen, we already done talked about a plan. And
Absolutely.
That's what I'm emphasizing on every scenario that I'm going to give y'all. Have a plan, financial plan, everything. Now, my next scenario is, what if one day, as we see, our President Donald Trump was only sick for 3 days, and things are looking like they've been predicting or planned that November the 3rd or right after the election, maybe the virus might mysteriously disappear.
Whoa.
Transitional changes is action.
What are you going to do?
If they got on TV or they start promoting that go take this vaccine or they got a cure, or mysteriously it disappear. How would y'all feel about that?
Well, I know, first of all, as me, just speaking from in general, if everything went back to normal, I would I would resume the regular schedule.
I would say if it mysteriously disappeared, like Queen Summers just stated, things might go back like it's normal. I'm standing on this right here. I don't think in the near future things are going back normal.
But see, you know what, King? That's what we just talked about with Todd. When we was talking about Todd, you have to remain hopeful. If you walk around here and you have a strong stance on nothing's ever going to change or nothing ever is going to go back the same, you got to remain optimistic, because after every storm is always a rainbow. Always. So I would say, even if just give it 10%, things might be able to go back to the way that it once was. Just give it 10%, because you never know. And so if it does happen, you won't be caught off guard like, oh, I didn't have a plan to go back to normal, when you said have a plan.
No justice, no peace. I made a statement stating that, saying transparency is to have steps ahead of the big plan that is not disclosed to you. You got to come up with different types of scenarios, like this one here, saying that mysteriously goes away. Maybe I didn't make it clear about how I stated that things won't go back to normal, but really what I'm saying is things, I feel like it's going to be a process. And I think that it will be things that could come back in normalcy, but I think there are things that could come back in a better way, meaning that this change is an opportunity to make things better. I mean, as we stated, for instance, there's a lot of jobs that is taking up a lot of space in these skyscrapers. When COVID hit, they have their employees working from home, and it's working out, I think, a lot better. That is a common footprint to that building not being needed tons or millions of tons of weight for people to be in a cubicle. I think that companies can evolve with the change and make it more suitable for people to work from home. Another one is
the churches. A lot of people, once COVID hit, they still wanted to go and do their worship and praise, and they was able to go in their cars. So I look at it like the building is a building. The fellowship is with the people. And if you can fellowship in your cars and standing outside in front of the building, who needs the building? Fellowship out in the opening. Maybe you'll have more followers, more people join your congregation if they just walking down the sidewalk and they see everybody out and everybody's worshiping together. That's how you really get the people.
That's what I mean by I apologize if I didn't make it clear. I'm not stating that I'm not hopeful. I pray